Hello, dear friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is news time again from this very good channel. Welcome back. How are you all doing? Hope you're good. I pray that God will be with you in your endeavors. Today, we have another update for you. And I want you to, after listening to it, you drop your opinion and suggestions you have so that Biafra will be free. And that's just it. Okay, let's go there.
Go and go. Don't enter flight now. Go room for Pope Francis funeral. They did Nigeria when it happened for Benue, when it happened for Plateau, when it happened for Gombe. They no travel go that place. They no go see big team. They did their chamber. They enjoy, but it don't happen far away. They don't carry their amamse. Go room now. Enter flight. Collect allowance. Go room. But when it depend us for here, they go do like say they know the hear am. Even P2B tried to reach out to people where they Benue State. Their governor prevented it. But now, our senators, our lawmakers are in Rome for Pope funeral.
Alright, so the news says Senate President Akpabio in Rome for Pope Francis burial. Shameful. Shameful. Senate President Godswill Akpabio is leading a 5-member Nigerian delegation to Vatican City to attend the funeral of Pope Francis, scheduled for today, Saturday, April 26, 2025. The delegation was appointed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to represent Nigeria at the funeral rites of the late head of the Roman Catholic Church. Shameful. Shameful. What are you doing in Rome? You think your impact will be felt in Rome? If they release the list of the dignitaries who attend that funeral, they will not show you people's face. What are you doing there? Meanwhile, the people who fulfill your presence, your impact, your presence, you cannot go and see them. Tinubu did not open his mouth to say anything until he got back to Nigeria when they kill people for Jos, when they kill people for Benue. When, as we talk now, Kwara State Ilorin, they buy them. Akpabio did not go anywhere. Okay, say Tinubu no dey country as at the time where all those buying they happen. Akpabio did not even wake up one day to say, you know what? As the Senate President, let me take this man too. Let me go and see all these people. Let me just travel around. You took how many hours trip? How many hours flights to Italy? The number of hours will take you to go Italy. You go don't go Benue, come back. In one day, you go touch down Benue, touch down Jos, touch down Kwara State, touch down Enugu. You go touch down Enugu, touch down Ogun. You go touch down Ogun State. All these states have been affected by the herdsmen issue, where a lot of people have lost their lives. But you leave the people where they say you did directly, where you the influence directly. You go place where they don't send your papa. All in name of what? For kamikaze, paparazzi. I don't know what kind of connection you are looking for. Pope where you know go greet when he there alive. Now when he buy, you go greet him. I don't know whether I bless you, they find. Pope where you go, where you know see everything they use it to do politics. Everything is politics. Everything. Like I said, they go check, they go print out all the people who come there last. They go snap picture, Vatican, all those people, they go snap now. Main press. They will not see you at Akpabio. You and the others who are wasting that. They will not see you people. Your people are here. People they buy every day. When I know they see them. When I never go visit anyone. Up till now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu never say, okay, you know what? I'm back in Nigeria. Let me go to Jos. I am back in Nigeria. Let me go to Benue. I am back in Nigeria. Let me go to Ogun. I'm back in Nigeria. Let me go to Kwara. I'm back in Nigeria. Let me go to Edo State. None of that. None of all the people but you carry yourself, you delegate people, may they go Italy. May God help us in this APC and Tinubu regime. May God help us. They have failed totally. They failed completely. No remorse, no remorse. They don't even care. Meanwhile, some people still wake up tomorrow and defend this set of people as leaders because when I don't collect small things and because when they chop. Don't worry, not time. You're gonna be affected as well. By then, you're gonna learn, and you will learn the hard way. When our leaders they fail, they go they meet other people where they won't look good for their eyes. Shame, 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 shame.
pressure that needs to be applied at this point would be maximum civil pressure on the National Assembly to amend the Electoral Act. And Nigerians guarantee that there should be free, fair, and credible elections in 2027. Other than that, if you look at the permutations that are going on, a few days ago, the Minister for FCT held a media conference where he boastfully said that Peter Obi cannot win. In Nigeria, it is not about the best. If you look at the trend, the arrogance of the ruling party is in the fact that they know that there is disenfranchisement of the people. You know, the democratization of disenfranchisement. Without your vote or not, we are going to come back. That is why when you have failed in the first 2 years, you are talking about a second term. So now Nigerians will go, but when you talk about electoral reforms, a lot of Nigerians are scared. And what we fail to understand is this. INEC and the National Assembly already presented a caveat, but it was very sinister. The Electoral Act provided for electronic transmission of results, but it made it optional for INEC. The simple protest Nigerian youth must do today, following this 30-day challenge, is going back to the National Assembly. That section 65 that says the presiding officer at the polling unit can transmit results in a manner chosen by INEC must be taken out and replaced with mandatory. And then any other clause that you know, if you want to get independent candidacy, because what they have done is to hijack political party registration. You cannot register a new political party. Look, Nigerian youths know what to do. They know the problems, and they are not attached to one person. You saw what they did with the obedient movement. They proved that we can be our own people. But the system failed the Nigerian youth.
But even the Nigerian
Hold on. Catherine, just hold it like this. We have to go on a quick time out. There's more on this conversation when we come back. Setting the youth agenda for 2027. Stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we're talking about the youth participation, their preparation towards 2027. And of course, we have Peter Aka in the building talking to us about it. If you're under 35 in Nigeria, you've probably heard it before. You are the leaders of tomorrow. I don't like this term. It reminds me of my childhood, honestly. But tomorrow keeps coming, and the power keeps staying elsewhere. Today on Jasiri, we are asking, what will it take for young Nigerians to stop being political spectators and start becoming real power brokers? With the 2027 elections on the horizon, the moment isn't about waiting to be included. It's about setting the agenda now, loud and clear. Peter Aka is still with us. Peter, let's be honest. The youth have been hearing this future. The future. It's been on for I cannot lie to you. When I was a young child, we used to have this vision 2020. It was 2020. We did already. And it was something that we looked, it was hopeful. I can't lie to you. When you hear that vision, you feel as if, everything is just going to come together this year. And the year came and brought for us COVID.
Vision 2030.
But the system doesn't even reflect our voice. Why do you think young Nigerians continue to be excluded from real power? Is it structural, or is this something that we brought upon ourselves that is self-inflicted? Because there are many angles to it. How is that happening?
You know, in fairness to the Nigerian youth, we have found ourselves in a dilemma where we need to undo the mess of past and previous generations, and also the ones that we have also created. Because you ask yourself exactly, the generations ahead, what exactly was left on ground for the Nigerian youth? And now we are stuck in a situation where we need to now begin to unravel this thing. Unfortunately for Nigeria, there is no worst case scenario, because the fact that things are this bad do not mean it will not become worse for us as a people. That is why the Nigerian youth today has been scrambling for whatever solution they can hang on. We came up with NSAS, they fired live arms at us. We came up with N-Bad governance, they decided to arrest us. As we are talking, there are some N-Bad governor, NSAS protesters who are still in prison. As we are talking, more than 5 years, going to 5 years after that protest. In fact, the Lagos state government has not even agreed to how many persons' bodies were found in the morgue who turned off the lights. It is still a challenge. So when you see the burden that is on the Nigerian youth, but my plea and my call, what I have been seeking and becoming almost a broken record, is that we must be strategic. If you go on social media, you hear certain persons begin to tell you about Revolution Now, my uncle Showore, who I so much respect. The question you will ask yourself is, if there is a revolution today, and for example, the president leaves, who takes over? That is the Vice President Shetima.
Yep.
The third in succession is Akpabio, or you want to go through the military route. And even when there is a total removal of, you must still have an electoral process where somebody who has the legitimacy to rule or lead will be brought in. So if you look at our entire dilemma, it boils back to an electoral process. Okay. That is why what I'm doing now is citizen sensitization. I will personally take a letter to the National Assembly in due course. I will begin my own one-man protest, because that is the only way we can begin to unravel this. When everybody in Nigeria begins to sing about INEC and elections, they will get the point. President Tinubu knows. Godswill Akpabio, the Senate President, knows.
Okay. So you feel we should attack from base. In
Yes.
other words, when I say attack, not literally, but let's focus the problem. Let's focus attention on the problem, and the problem here is the base.
Yes.
Is the way that politicians
That's the way that politicians get into power. Look, forget about anything economy. Don't talk about, if President Tinubu does not want to fix inflation, let him not fix. If he doesn't want to fix insecurity, let him not fix.
Let's start.
Get a means to hold him accountable in 2027 and see. Let a politician know that this system can bring me in and this system can take me out. Then go there and don't
do you not think that this hour we have the odds stacked against us? Because I remember during the electoral process how difficult it was made for you to be able to get your voters card. I believe that abroad you can actually go to your local government from time to time and get your voters.
It's as seamless as
But INEC will tell you that there are a couple millions of voter cards that have yet to be collected. Even up to the election, I think up to a week or so before the elections, they were making news, come and collect your voters card. But I want to ask you something, because you talked about when all of us face one issue at a time, we will get a resolution. Are the issues that urban youth and rural youth facing the same? Because you often seem to see a disconnect between youth in urban areas and youth in rural areas when it comes to mobilization. There's even a geopolitical regional divide that comes into it as well. So how do you get young people to bridge the divide that truly will create a national youth agenda, a national youth movement? Because we saw it with End Bad Governance, I believe, even NSARS, where we were told that some places in this country were told not to come out and join the protest. In End Bad Governance, we saw a governor come out and thank his young people for not taking part in the protest. So you see that it often looks like we're not all, I'm not a youth, sorry, all the youth are not on the same page.
Youth at heart.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Look, the truth of the matter is, when you see certain of these divisions, although they exist, but they are also the handwork of evil and corrupt politicians. They know how to throw stones of division. Look, there is nothing that unites a people than their collective pain and suffering. Every Nigerian today knows that the price of a liter of petrol is higher. The cost of a bag of rice is higher. They know that power has been epileptic in certain or most areas of the country. Even those who are on certain bands A to Z are paying through their nose strills. So now what it means is that if you bring the agenda of electoral reform, everybody in Nigeria has been a victim. There are certain persons in Borno State today who have a senator that they did not vote for, who did not contest through the primaries. He's there through the judiciary. If you look at what happened in Kano, remember that when the governorship election went to the tribunal, it was upheld at the High Court. It was turned down by the appeal court. When they saw the reaction from the Kano state citizens at the Supreme Court, they decided to realign. In fact, there were allegations that there were 2 judgments that were kept to be released on the day of that ruling. Every Nigerian knows that elections, when you talk about underage voting and all the beginning of, what do they call it, inconclusive election, it began with Kano State, with President Buhari in 2019. Nigerian youth just need a level of sensitization and mobilization. That is what everybody will be talking about, including CSOs, because at some point it seems like we are more interested in protesting about the problems than solving them. Because maybe solving them puts certain persons out of business. So if we really want to take the root causes of the matter, it should be an aggressive citizen sensitization. Every Nigerian is a victim of bad governance, including those who are wealthy. Only the thieves or criminals in Nigeria today will not complain. Everybody is being touched by the hand of incompetence.
Sorry. We have to go for a break. We'll be right back.
Yes, so we're still having the conversation on youth sensitization.
We are in the final moments of our conversation with Peter Aka on setting the youth agenda for 2027. Peter, What would a real youth agenda for 2027 be like, and beyond the slogans? What are the top 3 non-negotiable young people? What should young people be pushing for? I mean, top 3. Like if you have to say 1, 2, 3. So that everybody, you've been talking about an agenda, a single focus. What if you have to itemize it in 3 spaces? What would 1, 2, 3 be?
Nigerian youths, our focus number 1 is INEC, number 2 INEC, number 3 INEC. By the time you are done with INEC, you can talk about constitutional reform, judicial reform, law enforcement reform, but it must begin by sending people into power who have the competence and character to reform. It will begin by realizing the dilemma we are today. What the current administration is providing for Nigeria is the textbook definition of how not to govern a country. Nigeria almost exists so that other countries can learn how not to govern their countries. It is a criminality and corruption Armageddon. And if you do nothing by 2027, it will only get worse.
But see, Peter, when you say all of this, when you look at the numbers, in totality, National Assembly members, State House of Assembly members, governors, presidents, ministers, they are what? Maybe 1, maybe 2% of the totality of the Nigerian population. Meanwhile, they seem to hold everybody's lives and everybody's possibilities in their hands. Are we not responsible for allowing the situation to get to where it is?
We are. Our people go say, now the way you see that night cameraman go snap you. The truth of the matter is that Nigerians are in a hostage situation, and we have failed to realize. In fact, a lot of Nigerians are rather cooperating with the persons who took you hostage. That is the Stockholm syndrome. That is why today we can see the arrogance that is going on. And what we are observing is a dangerous state capture, where the National Assembly, who should be performing oversight, have literally become an APC town hall. It is an extension of the executive. The judiciary is gone. Now Nigerians must find the courage and the wisdom to 1, be strategic, and 2, be firm. Nation building is not a sprint, it is a marathon. Everything will not turn around in a moment. Take 1 strategic step at a time. Secure that foundation, then we can build on it.
So let's go back. I'm so sorry. Let's go back to the National Assembly. The National Assembly in totality is not made up of APC. There's PDP, there's LP, there's I think NNPP as well. And one of the things I was really expecting from these other parties was to see bills, was to see action and conversations and conversations that reflect what was really happening. You have the party in power, then you have those who are in opposition. And I'm sorry to say, for many of them, opposition parties have disappointed the National Assembly because they seem to align with everything that the party in power is doing. But so we have opposition. We have people voted for thinking, okay, you're not all laying down and facing the same direction. What happens to them?
Ms. Lu, let us be honest with ourselves. Nigeria should not pretend that we don't know what we are experiencing. What is going on at the federal level has a template that has been fully implemented in Lagos State. President is not a normal politician. A senator stood up and told you on national TV that the National Assembly is not opposition friendly and it's not women friendly. There was a recent video where a former Senate minority leader, Senator Inaya Kotabaribe from Abia State, had to walk out of the National Assembly when the presiding officer refused another opposition lawmaker an opportunity to raise a bill. What do you think happened with Senator Natasha? When you talk about state capture, it is the executive wielding its entire power to ensure that anybody who tries to be a voice of dissent is put this way. That is what is going on in the National Assembly. And if you know the enormous, and this is not trying to hold place for the opposition lawmakers, because they are a huge disappointment. If you cannot stand up and speak up for a time like this, then what do you expect from defenseless persons like us? People who are on the street with your security, with your money, you decide to be on the same bed with the persons who are oppressing Nigerians. That is why Nigerians must decide that we are tired of the entire system. In the words of the Reverend Tunde Bakari, you saw his State of the Union address. He said, what we are seeing is political banditry. It is motopark politics. Literally, that is what is going on. For Reverend Tunde Bakari to come up with such a scathing rebuke of the Tinubu presidency, Nigerian youth must decide to come together and say, enough.
Okay, I would have dabbled in the...
Because we have a few things to say.
Trust me, I would have dabbled.
Tunde Bakari has also dined at the table.
I mean, he's a part of them.
If all of us are supposed to bring the religious institutions, okay, we can't do it on our own. The youth cannot do it on our own. Nigerians cannot do it on our own. Let's get these religious bodies to the table. Guys, can you help us? Because whether they like it or not, we, oh God,
one of the most hypocritical sects is the religious institution.
We find succor, we find solace in the churches. So can we not use the church to steamroll and say that, okay, the churches and the traditional institutions, the religious institutions, are homes to millions of people.
Everybody.
We have confidence in them. So why are we not using that again?
Recently, a pastor stood on his altar and said, "We don't accept bashing of politicians here. If we continue in that line, then it's a problem."
Because Nigerians we are dancing around. Unfortunately, religious and traditional institutions are just appendages of the political class. When you talk about the Nigerian elite, it includes religious leaders, the most hypocritic set of persons. You do not hear them talk about election and where to vote. After election, they crawl out of their holes and begin to tell you to pray for the government. They are a part of why the Nigerian citizenry have been held down. And that is why with all our number of religious institutions, we do not have any meaningful impact. Everybody prays in a mosque. Everybody prays in a church. Who is stealing money in government?
Ghosts.
Right. Let me ask the final question because we don't have any more time. Peter, this is what happens. But one thing I want you to hammer on, because I think people might feel like we are creating mountains out of molehills if young people don't want to get involved. There was a statistic that we put up about the number of young people who are now part of the voting electorate. And by 2027, that number is going to swell again because millions more young Nigerians will turn 18 and have the right to vote. But are they involved? Are they interested? Their focus mainly is on Japa or finding a way to sort of make enough money to isolate themselves from the issues of Nigeria. So my last question to you is this. What is your biggest fear if young people don't mobilize properly ahead of 2027? And what is your biggest hope that if they do, this is what will happen? Very quickly.
I do not fear for Nigerian youths. I believe that we have the requisite courage and capacity. We need leadership that is strong, strategic, and firm. My hope is that Nigerian youths have proven before that they can build something out of nothing. What we need to do right now is to begin a challenge. Tell President Tinubu to come out and state clearly that if you are a Democrat, Your Excellency, commit to free and fair elections in 2027. If he fails to commit to, we must ensure that we mount maximum civil pressure as peaceful Nigerian youths and get what we need from this system, or else we have more years of lamentation.